I'm alive. Sorry, a little late again. I got a little carried away talking to my fiance. I just gotta set stuff up, and I do have stuff to talk about, concerning, like, stuff that's going on. Not with me, just to elaborate. I realized that the phrasing sounded off. I'm fine. I'm talking about, like stuff going on, like, in media and whatnot. So 1 second. There we go. Copy. Discord. Paste. 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 Then let my mother know. Minimize, bring up OBS, continue Roottreemania. But yeah, I don't know if anyone heard when I said that I had figured it out on Monday. I just had to set the for the compatible version when starting up the game. That's why I was acting all weird. Yeah, what I want to talk about is the stuff that's going on with Poppy Playtime. Now, for context, right, I know very little about Poppy Playtime. To show my timeline of, like, my perspective, I heard about it with the first chapter, I'm like, simply judging a book by its cover doesn't necessarily seem like my thing. Hear a little bit more about it, I'm like, oh, okay. Has promise, has potential. I'll wait until more chapters come out. Chapter 2 comes out, the whole NFT regarding Chapter 2 happened, and I just didn't really look at Poppy's Playtime after that, even when, like, I heard that, like, they took that away. It was the fact that they had attempted to do that that bothered me. And just left a bad taste in my mouth. But, I heard, I'm hearing a lot of stuff about the 5th game, and, again, I have no context about anything, aside from, like, little bits and pieces that my fiance and bestie have told me. And, like, the little bit that I've seen of, like, other people reacting, to Chapter 5. Regarding the prototype design, like, for people who also don't know about Poppy's Playtime, prototype is, like, a character. And from what I've heard from, like, if you were to simply state what the prototype is supposed to be on paper, it's supposed to be a toy who kind of, like, gathers and collects parts of other toys and, like, sticks it onto itself. That's pretty much all I know about the prototype. I don't even know if it's even true. But I've seen the design, and, like, I don't know if it just started collecting parts to, like, stick it onto itself, but I feel like it should have more than, like, 3 appendages from 3 different toys. I feel like it should have more than that. Aside from that, like, maybe aside from, like, a tweak here and there in the design, I wouldn't really do much with it. Your mic is sounding super good today. Thank you. Thanks, Ma. Yeah, I'm talking about Poppy's Playtime because, like, I've been hearing a lot about it. With the design, like, I think maybe a few tweaks would have been fine with the design. Or, like, maybe, like, the design itself would have been a lot better for, like, a different type of character. Again, I have no context of Poppy's playtime, so, like, I don't know if I'm talking out of my ass or what. You know? I have thought about, like, maybe, like, looking into it a bit more, so that way, like, I could have, like a more, what's the word? Knowledgeable? No. Not experienced. I don't remember the word that I'm trying to use, but, like, I feel like I would have, like, a lot more of an informed opinion, after I learn more about the game. It's just that prior to, like, any of that, like, the game had left a bad taste in my mouth because of the NFT thing regarding Chapter 2. Like, from what I heard, like, with the chapters in general, it seems very formulaic. Like, each chapter has, like, very similar aspects, and it doesn't really change much. And, like, I do see that to a degree, but that would work better if it was a show, not a game. Because when it comes to games that have where they put new stuff out in forms of chapters, usually there's like different stuff within each chapter, like with Bending in the Ink Machine or Sally Face. I think there's like another one that I'm thinking of, but I can't immediately recall, unfortunately. But like there are games who like segment themselves in chapters, and it can work really well. So yeah, I don't really know exactly what's going on, like, behind the scenes in Poppy's playtime, especially since, like, I know very little about it. But I'm confused by, like, how we got here with Chapter 5, especially since, like, from what I heard, Chapter 5 was supposed to be the last. But now they're, like, coming out with, like, Chapter 6, like, later, and, like, I even heard somewhere that, like, there's actually supposed to be 10 chapters. Which, like, I love, a thick story, right? I love, like, a very, like, a nice, long, like, story-rich story, you know? Like, lore-rich, very, like, detailed, blah, blah, blah. 10 chapters, though, for a game. Like, maybe it's just me. Maybe this is just my personal opinion, but I think that's, like, a little much. Like, even, like, when I would, like, probably, like, do, I would at least attempt to, like, make, like, bigger projects. Like, I would not, like, do a 10-chapter game. At most, I'd probably do, like, 7. That's just me, though. I don't know what I'm talking about. You know? Oh god, I gotta, like, try and remember shit. I gotta remember where I left off. So now I got this. Sheena Clementine. Cause, like, I just learned that, like... Hold on. Claimed that her husband has confessed he thinks he's a Roottrees. So I'm assuming that's him. The woman in the photo is Mary Beth Clementine, a singer who may have had an affair with Miracle Roottrees, because that's Miracle. So when would Miracle have had the affair? Because this is like Miracle, not Miracle Jr., not Miracle the Third. This is Miracle. Goddamn years. Oh wait, no, I already did that. Never mind. Oh wait, what was the name of the wife? Gina Clementine. Gina. Oh wait, no. What am I talking about? Mary Beth Clementine. I think we read this. New Edison. Oh yeah, I know we read this. Got the whole world in his hands? Nope. Wait a minute. Shouldn't there be another kid because she adopted? Right? I don't know. Actually, since it's been a while, we may need the ducky to get us right back on track. You have enough information to fill in the only starred person on the tree. Yeah, I got him filled in. What are you talking about? Ducky. You know, the notable events that this person is 5Ps. His spider search results gave you all the information you need. Yeah, I got him! Felix Fellows, he's a musician. He's like a rapper. Is rapper like a different... Yeah, no, rapper isn't a different one. So yeah, he's a musician. What are you talking about? Ducky! Have you lost your delightful little brain cell? 5Ps is an alias for Felix Fellows, but that's not his real name. Oh. Oh yeah, because it would be like a Robertson. Fuck, where did I learn that? God damn it. Actually, let me just... Fellows, blah blah blah. Father was Guy Hudson. DNA test approved. Blah blah blah. Fellows, blah. Born to Riley and Joanna Fellows, but was never rapped without a moniker. Blah blah blah. When did we learn his real name? Because I know we found somewhere, but I don't remember, like, how we got there. Oh, yeah, David. So it'd be David Fellows. Why would he change it to Felix? Ducky. You can fill in 5 pieces, mother. Yeah, I get it. Her name was Joanna Robertson. She was a secretary. Hello? Ducky. Blah, blah, blah. Joanna Robertson, was a cashier. I thought she was a secretary. I could have sworn she was a secretary. She was a secretary to Zach, but then she became Hudson Guy's secretary. Spire search result for a new SM mentioned something to do with Mary Beth's birth name. Wait, did it? New Edison. New Edison, blah blah blah. Because I know we've read this before. Says that the first edition was originally published before she legally changed her name. What would it have been then? The other side claims that the police had to be called it to New Edison Records, blah blah blah, Sterling Edison, Lane to a divorce. Mary Beth Clementine. She was a singer. Stuart and Mark, blah blah blah. Times term manager Sterling ended her career with the religious audience she had been catering to. Mary Beth passed away. Yeah, how am I supposed to, like, get her real name? Ducky. Well, your periodicals might have more information about the song. Ooh! Modern Music Monthly. He's got the whole world in his hands. Copy. Oh, wait, huh? I could've. Wait. Yeah, he's got the whole world in his hands. Huh? Gimme! Gimme! Oh, wait, no. Gimme! Search periodicals. Music. Go! What? It's bullshit. It should be on a music thing. Hold on. Under the it would be New Edison window. There we go. Took me a second. It seems that New Edison Records and Modern Music Monthly had quite a lot of overlap. There are countless advertisements for various covers of popular songs, and they all start to blend together. When you scan the results for anything other than an advertisement, you do find a very brief blurb from when New Edison was sued by Edison Records. By the time the magazine had covered it, it seems like the lawsuit was settled out of court and New Edison was destined to shut down. The owner, who went by Sterling Edison, said he'd likely create a new record company, but there's no evidence anywhere that he did, and that was the last mention of him on MMM. Maybe search him up? No. Oh, what if Mary Beth Clementine? Mary Beth Clementine was reviewed and advertised many times in Modern Music Monthly, but the most popular recording was the release of her cover, He's Got the Whole World in His Hands. It was released under the label New Edison. Modern Music Monthly had a very positive review of her cover, and the writer complimented her voice and the tone of her guitar. The review had nothing to say about Mary Beth herself, so it's not as much use to your investigation. There were also some other Mary Beth Clementine releases that appeared over the years. One of them was The Old Rugged Cross, which is the only song that was advertised but not reviewed. So you said that I was supposed to get her name, Mr. Duck? Oh. Music Monthly? Mary Beth Quaker. Oh. Quaker. Ooh! Yeah, I just had some name stuff wrong that I didn't realize. No, I mean, that seems on brand. Yay. Okay. There was a phrasing. Oh, wait, no, that should be good. Right? I don't remember what Stuart's job was. Did it say? Roottrees lawyers. Oh, police officer. Duh. Obviously. Bill Clementine, blah blah. Blah 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 blah. Right here. Was hired. Linda Lewis. Catarata. Blah blah blah. I should be looking at like women's names, like specifically like if they were like secretaries and whatnot, because that would be like where all the affairs are happening, I betcha. Juliet, Joanna Robertson, Doris Mays, and Beth Knox. I want to look at Beth Knox. Can I look at her in the periodical? Maybe she's like in a newspaper or something. Like she tragically died or something. Yeah? Okay. Figured I'd check. Because I know Beth Knox has got to be like something important. Whoops. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. Secretaries Christine Farrell was hired. China Fellows have been added to the list. Are no longer employed by Roottrees. See, that's why I think Beth Knox is important, because she was like knocked off the same time as Joanna. We all know that Joanna was in some shit with Guy Hudson. Christine Farrell, Christine Garland. Oh yeah, wasn't there like a whole thing with the Garlands? Where was that? Is that like one of the people that Guy Hudson was with? Christine Farrell. Christine Garland. No, it was like... Give me the name. No, that's not what I want. Gimme. Because it was here somewhere. What if I did Pharaoh instead? No, it's just Garland? Zimmer. Because I know we read this. Rochelle and her husband, Mark Zimmer, have a few mentions in Butler County Times. Both were local business owners. Rochelle owned Antonelli, an Italian restaurant, and Mark owned a local bookstore called Bookmarks. Oh, that's cute. Both closed in 1992. Mark was also mentioned once in the Butler County Times when he was sued by Steve Garland. Go on? Hello? I have to look up Steve Garland? Steve Garland is mentioned in a couple of articles. The first was an article about how he met his wife Christine when he worked at Antonelli. The second is from months later. In September of 1978, a listing for his weekend cooking class, Gourmet for the Groovy, the blurb mentions that he's been giving lessons from his home kitchen for the last month so that he can keep an eye on his son. The third was from 1991 and is titled Local Author Sued by Former Butler County Resident. It seems that a local author by the name of Mark Zimmer was sued by Garland after Garland saw Zimmer promoting his book Kitchen Tales on television. His recipe book was partially plagiarized from the recipes that Steve Garland would give his students during his cooking lessons before he moved. Plagiarism? The article mentions that although recipes are hard to copyright, Garland accompanied each recipe with a short fiction about how he learned it. These usually doubled as a way to remember certain ingredients. Garland's bean salad, for example, involved making a trade with a gnome for some magic beans. A gnome? Apparently, these stories were found word for word in Zimmer's cookbook, in addition to additional stories that follow the same format. Ooh. But where would this go? Where would this even be? No, like, they have a kid. They have at least 8 kids. That's like one of these to be. I assume it's this one because it was only mentioned like one kid. Then like, I assume it's this one because like I don't know like how we're gonna like even get like pictures, but like, I think I'm overthinking this. Where are the Garlands, the Pharaohs, the Zimmermans, like where do they all fit? I desire to know. Ducky? You should look into Mary Beth's children. Would I even be able to find anything from Mark Clementine? Oh! I was not expecting that to work. Crocodile Clementine. That is a cute nickname. Crocodile Clementine is listed on a website titled The Infamy List. It's a massive list of criminals, who are known for odd crimes. Although Mark's name would imply he hails from Florida, a lot of others on the list come from there or Australia. Mark is listed as being from Los Angeles. He has a pretty big entry. He seems like a real piece of work. There's a very small note about him being the basket baby of 1950. What is... What's a basket baby? But most everything else comes from his adulthood. What's a basket baby? Hold on. You can't just say basket baby of 1950 and expect me to understand what the hell you're talking about. The hell's a basket baby? Like, is it a thing where, like, it does what it says on the tin, where you just, like, carry a baby in a basket, where, like, the baby is, like... Is it, like, a moose baby thing, where, like, you're just pregnant with, like, a really big kid? Is that what it is? Like, a basket baby is, like, a moose baby? Hold on. Basket baby... definition. Please. I desire knowledge. I'm not talking about the bed. What does basket baby mean? Because I'm getting stuff for, like, basketball baby or bucket baby from, like, Urban Dictionary, but, like... Hold on. I think it means they were left in a basket for someone else to raise. Oh, they were left on the doorstep. Oh. Oh, yeah, because he was adopted. Gotcha. Okay, I love you, my dear. Schmuggles. Don't mind me, I'm just being really slow. I love you, don't die or do crime. I love you. I hope your day gets better. I love you. Yeah, my fiance had a bit of a rough day so far. I hope my fiance gets better. Anyway, we're talking about Criminal. Took me an embarrassingly long time to figure out that basket baby meant that they were left on the doorstep in a basket. He lost his job in 1975 as a pilot for a regional airline after he tried to board the wrong airline's plane. He was drunk. He was charged with trespassing and assault. Is criminal an occupation? It is not. Is it, like, called something else? Professional criminal? No. It just said he was a pilot, right? As a pilot, yeah. Well, maybe he got, like, a new job later, because, like, I think we're supposed to be with, like, the latest one. In 1982, he was arrested for transporting smuggled animals over the Canadian-Mexican borders for an illegal reptile supplier in Los Angeles. What? He was apparently quite successful for the first 4 years, but was caught when he had made an emergency landing in Portland after he was bitten in the foot by a crocodile, hence the nickname. Apparently, the Portland Telegraph is credited as having given him his nickname. His mugshot from this incident has been added to your photos. Ooh! In 1993, he was released on parole, but his freedom didn't last long. He was arrested in 1994 in San Diego for violating it in an attempt to visit his daughter's graduation. He famously punched the principal, a man named Billy Sims. Ooh! Let me read this more. Excuse me. Billy Sims is the principal of Sandstone Canyon High School, who had his 15 minutes of fame in 1994 when he was punched by Crocodile Clementine at a graduation ceremony. Sure, that's a sentence that I expected to read today. Pretty much every news organization, from trustworthy to tabloid, seemed to have their own take on the altercation. Ooh, can I look into it more? This is me. I can look into it more on on the periodicals. Ooh. Anyway, it wasn't the punch that captured the nation's attention, however. Instead, it was Billy Sims' matter-of-fact response to the threat and his comments afterwards, as heard in a now famous audio clip from someone who was recording the ceremony. Billy saw Mark hop onto the graduation stage and said, "Sir, you want to sit down or we'll have a problem?" At that point, Crocodile reportedly sucker punched him in the face. Billy, apparently only slightly dazed, said, "Alright, sir, I guess we'll have a problem." Clementine tried to throw another punch, but Sims anticipated it and performed a maneuver that spectators described as a wrestling move mixed with a backwards somersault, which immediately brought both men to the floor, with Sims straddling Clementine and keeping him neutralized. As security arrived, the recording captured someone asking, "How did you do that?" And Sims' response was famously, "Trust me, I'm as surprised as anyone." Valid. But why? Why was Mark doing this? For what? For what reason? Also, I guess I have to put you down as a pilot, because, a criminal is not an occupation, I guess. You would think, but I guess I would be sorely mistaken. Let me get that mugshot. Where is it? Oh god. You found this mugshot online. It's Mark Clementine, who was arrested for smuggling reptiles into the US. Sounds about right. I don't mean to judge people by their appearances, but I will judge. They said he had a daughter? Would I use the high school for the thing? Just checking, everyone to be absolutely sure that I'm not missing nothing. Okay, that's not the one that I need. Let's go Billy Sims. Oh. The Butler County Times did report on Billy Sims, but the information seems redundant with the basic information you can find about the incident from the internet. Well, fuck you. Ooh. News Time did a small piece about a fight between Sims and Crocodile, but tried to approach it from a different perspective. Their goal was to paint a picture of the two men involved from others who knew them best. Not only did they manage to interview Sims' wife, Clara. Oh wait, no, that's Sims. Whoops. I got a little too excited when I saw a name. As well as multiple staff members at his school, but they hunted down Colleen Webb, Mark's ex-wife. Oh yeah, I did say here. Colleen Webb. Colleen. There we go. According to the section with Colleen, she and he met when he worked for an airline. She worked in an airport newsstand. He was a drinker and would often have wild mood swings. When he was charged with assault of a fellow pilot in 1975 and lost his job, they divorced. Valid. At the time, she was pregnant with their second daughter and she felt she needed to get out before things got worse. Also valid. She left him and moved to San Diego to live with her sister and told her oldest that her dad had to fly planes for the army. She raised them both by herself, and although she never went through the trouble of changing their names legally, they used the web names so that nobody could connect them to her ex-husband. Good to know. So that then I can just put that in. Can I look up Colleen Webb? Damn it. Maybe I can look up Colleen Webb with the news time? Maybe we can get more in depth on it? Nope, never mind. I guess I'll go screw myself. But I feel like there's like more that I can get from this. Hold on. Basket Baby of 1950. A few sites about true stories focused on and around religion mention that in 1950, a gospel singer named Mary once found herself dealing with a real-life baby Moses situation. Apparently, she was a rather prominent supporter of the concept of adoption, and someone decided to test how much. They left a baby on her doorstep in a basket. Oh, I could have just looked at Basket Baby of 1950 and gotten the answer and made myself look less stupid. What a world I live in. According to the site, she adopted him without question and raised him as her own son. Although it was in national news, in many circles he became known as the Basket Baby, and he even went on tour with her as he grew up. None of the websites stated who the women or baby were, likely to prevent people from looking into either of the people too closely. Well, they didn't consider that I existed. From context, you know that it's Mary Beth Clementine who would later be shunned due to her personal life, and her son Mark, who would later be known as Crocodile Clementine. But like, I can't figure out the name of the kids. I'm gonna take your picture. Am I missing any pictures? I don't think so. Still got this. Don't know why. Got this. Ducky? You should look into the book at the center of Steve Garland's lost. Ooh! Good point, Mr. Duck! Where was that? Gourmet for the Groovy by Steve Garland. Steve Garland. By Steve Garland. What? Steve Garland. I was right. Yeah? You fucker. Am I supposed to search up Mark Zimmer's Kitchen Tales? Give me the library. Kitchen Tales by Mark Zimmer. Oh, of course I get this. Garnishing the truth. What? Steve Garland? Oh. Okay. The introduction of this book is a series of acknowledgements from Steve. The first is, Christine, thank you for everything. Your support means the world to me. You are the apple of my pie. Oh, that's cute. The second is, James and Robert, you're becoming amazing men and incredible chefs. I guess I'm a good teacher. And the final is to Mark Zimmer. You proved my storytelling approach to recipes could be popular. Without you, this book couldn't exist. There is also a foreword by Mark Zimmer. I first met Steve in 1978 when he taught a cooking class. The next time I saw him was over a decade later when he was suing me for stealing his recipes. Yes, really. So you might wonder why I'm doing this introduction. Well, it turns out that Steve and I had more in common than we thought. Instead of settling in court, we settled it at McCarran's brew house over a game of darts. They said they'd give us the first drink of the night free for an entire year for mentioning them. By the end of the game, he and I agreed we'd both rather make a ton of money together than spend a ton of money on lawyers. That's valid, I guess. It's pretty rare to meet your best friends so late in life, but when I decided to retire, I moved to Boston just so we could hang out. So if you're browsing this book in a bookstore, please buy our book. We need more money for when the free beer runs out, and the bookstore could probably use the sale. Guess it was just to, like, get the names of the kids and that there were two. James and Robert. So I don't think that they were divorced, so that would probably be like... So, Garland? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Ah, Garland, Christine. We've been looking at Steve. Steve? But there's Steve. What? Okay. Steve... Garland. Oh wait, Christine was originally a Garland. She was a pharaoh. And what were the names? James and Robert. I'm just gonna put them in random order. James. Robert. Robert. Then they would be Garlands. They said that they were becoming chefs. I don't remember Christine's thing. Blah blah blah. He was the one. Infidelity. I kind of wanted to be a twist where, like, there's no affair baby, but Guy Hudson was with Steve. Is that just me? Am I being weird? I'm probably being weird. I should stop. Years ago, she delivered the produce from her mother's farm. So she like a delivery person? Farmer? How the hell am I gonna get a picture of this lady? Ducky! Library page for Garnishing the Truth has a bunch full of useful information. I've looked into it as much as I could. Mark Zimmer mentions a restaurant in Boston. Ooh, you right? You so smart, Ducky. McCarran's Brew House. That would be somewhere. Newstown? Business watch. Oh wait, no, would I just look it up in the spider search? Ooh. McCarran's Brew House is a pub in Boston, and they have a website. Apparently, the bar has been around a long time. On the site, there's a list of famous people who have had a drink there, including former President of the United States, not of the Roottrees Company, Kennedy. There's also a few listings of television shows and books that have mentioned McCarran's, as well as how they came up. One of them is Garnishing the Truth, which the site has this to say about. Local and regular Stevie G wrote a book about food. We prefer cocktails, but he gave us a shout out when we ain't gonna say no, and we ain't gonna say no to free press. Just grab a bite at his kid's joint Friday, and then swing by to... Ooh. Look that up. Friday is a fairly popular restaurant in Boston. They don't have a website, but many locals seem to mention them in various places. One more in-depth review explains that it's not a full restaurant, just a front door and a very small interior with a window. Unusually, the restaurant only serves vegetables, but a lot of reviews say that in spite of that, it's delicious. Okay, vegetarian kings. I wasn't expecting that. You also find a short story about it listed on a website called My Boston Homepage. Whoever runs the page seems to suggest a link to random sites related to Boston, tell personal anecdotes related to Boston, and give their relatively short opinions on things in Boston. It's very unorganized. It has this to say about Friday. Wicked overrated. I saw it in Chef's Signature, so I went and there was a huge line. They didn't have a single meat dish. What's even the point? Chef's Signature? Ooh! Chef's Signature is a magazine! Let's go! Friday. Powered articles, please! Chef's Signature! Chef's Signature covered Friday less than a year ago, right around the time you were doing your initial investigation. Ooh! Each article in Chef's Signature tends to focus on a restaurant, and like the magazine's name implies, each restaurant lists the one main dish that the head chef is known for. Friday's signature is the samosa cone. Samosa? What was samosa again? It sounds vaguely familiar. Hold on. Samosa. Hold on. A samosa is a fried Indian pastry with a savory filling that mostly consists of vegetables like spiced potatoes, onions, and peas. It can include cheese such as paneer, meat, or even fish. Its name originates from the Middle Persian word sambasag. Sambasag? Cool. Why is that on a cone? Wouldn't that just be a good pastry to have? The cover of main article, banana the evidence. Nice. Gimme. Give me your faces. Okay. Chef's Signature, a nationally published magazine targeted towards fans of unusual restaurants, featured James and Robert Garland on the cover of their November 1998 issue. According to the article, the two brothers own a small walk-up window in Boston called Friday, a play on the tie-dye shirts the service wear. Oh, that's cute. That exclusively serves vegetarian dishes. Most of the offerings are heavily inspired by the powerful spices found in Thai and Indian food. Their signature dish is the samosa cone, which from a distance somewhat resembles a traditional ice cream, complete with waffle pattern. Instead, it contains fried potatoes, pureed peas, carrots, and a single ginger-based sauce. Huh. Not necessarily my cup of tea, I don't think, but interesting. Robert, who is 3 years younger than James, I guessed that right, jokes that although the age difference has left him delegated to wear the sous chef jacket his whole life, he doesn't mind. As a result, James answers most of the interviewers' questions. James credits his love for food and his culinary skills to their upbringing. Okay, but can you tell me who's who? Can you tell me which one's the red and which one's the blue, please? Oh, it might be later, never mind. Most kids hate vegetables growing up, but they don't have parents like we did. My father was a chef and my mother grew up on a farm and supplied his restaurant. Okay, so I was right with her being a farmer. Sweet, I'm smart. That's how they met. I don't have any memories from the farm or anything like that since we moved here before I could even talk. But they told me stories. My dad's a great storyteller. He even wrote a book that partially helped fund Friday. When we moved, they were looking to open their own restaurant together. Unfortunately, they never got it off the ground. His line cook Dick ended up being less temporary than he hoped, and she had to go back to work as a secretary even after Robert was born. Before we were old enough to go to school, we spent our days with my aunt. In the diner where we worked, my dad had no room for experimenting, so he'd exercise his skills at home on his days off. We'd always go shopping and cook as a family on those days, and even though we were hyper kids running around and causing a ruckus, they were some of our family's favorite memories as we were all together. Mom always had the eye for the best vegetables for him to work with, and she did her best to pass it on to us. According to the article, their parents, who are now retired, visit Friday often. That is so cute. Too bad the mom had a fare. Anyway, they even have a signature dessert, the Sistine? What? Hold on. I'm sure this is an actual apple, but I just want to Sistine? If I can spell correctly. Apple. Why are we talking about the Bible? Huh? The Sistine apple primarily refers to the forbidden fruit depicted in Michelangelo's The Fall of Man fresco on the Sistine Chapel ceiling. Okay, but I want to know about the actual apples, bitch! Is it an actual apple or is it not? It doesn't look like it. I'm not getting anything for it. I feel betrayed. Apple pie has always been my mom's favorite. My dad always had this stupid line he used to make her laugh involving apple pie. Most people realize it's a Sistine Chapel pun and assume there's all there is to it. Oh, okay, never mind. But it's actually secretly named after them, sort of. What? I'm gonna look up the Sistine apple. Never mind. Yeah, how do I know which one of you is older? That's me. You look a little younger, so I'm gonna assume you're Robert. Oh! I guess correctly. I didn't want to base age off of age lines and stuff, but I guess I was right to do that. Who's come to bother me? You.
Sam reached out to me finally. I think I have you to thank for that one.
Mm-hmm.
My family's in a bit of a rough patch. Even though the candy is selling better than ever, everyone is fighting over the trust.
One would assume.
The majority of us want to dissolve it. On paper, it seems like the right decision. The arguments about what to do next are endless and heated. More than a few Roottrees are worried about losing their wealth. I don't think we deserve it more than anyone else. I love my family, my wife, my daughters, even my son, who I hardly ever get to see. I want to keep them safe and secure, but I didn't do anything to deserve this fortune. Hell, I probably deserve it less than most. It took me way too long to get my life together. Okay, enough about me. Here's the deal. I can't stop the majority from voting one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
If you keep passing along potential Roottrees, I'll keep adding them to the list. On the other hand, there's been some leaps forward in genetics. It may sound like science fiction, but we can actually determine who's in the family just by testing their DNA. What you've done so far has been very useful. Just keep filling out the tree and we'll prepare for the tests.
Okay, we've made progress. I still don't know how the fuck we're supposed to get her picture. I also really want to, like, explore Elias. Cause, like, what the hell goes on here? Why are we only focusing on this one? Cause, like, that's what I assume that, like, this box means. Right? Like, these little boxes are, like, the heirs that we're focusing on for some reason. Like, why, what, like, what about these people? Like, are they all dead or something? What about these people? Ducky. Order of operations. Cicely Sanchez wrote an article in a magazine about Guy Hudson. That sounds useful. Cicely Sanchez. Help me with the spelling. Thank you. Cicely Sanchez. Cicely Sanchez is an author best known for Portrait of a Changed Man, released in 1979. Her follow-up, Foreign Gospel, in 1984, did not perform as well critically, but still sold quite respectably. She has written a few more books since then, including Biography of Van Gogh, but her first two are acclaimed to fame. According to the site about authors, Cicely is known for her non-fiction, with a focus of exploring darkness in the human psyche. Recently, Cicely appeared in the Piketty. That's where I'm recognizing her from. Portrait of a Changed Man. Like that. Whoops. Out of print. The book's description has this to say. What if everything you stand for, everything you know to be true today, could disappear in an instant? I would cry. All of your politics, relationships, gone in the blink of an eye. Would you still be you? No, I'd be crying. Cicely Sanchez tells this powerful true story about a man who woke up after being saved from drowning in his backyard pool. Is it about Guy Hudson? And became an entirely different person. Included are interviews from those that knew him best before, as well as a one-on-one chat that paints an entirely different picture. You won't be able to put it down without wondering, what if it were me? Okay, and this is Help Me How, Mr. Duck? Oh, Cicely and Piketty. bed. In an issue that focused on a talking toy fish and the demonic messages it supposedly said as the batteries ran low. Oh, are they talking about the wall fish? What's that fish actually called? Hold on. Because I know there's got to be like a more proper name for it, right? What's the wall fish? Wall fish? Is it actually just called a wall fish? Hold on. Wall fish toy. It's just called a talking wallfish. Why is there a talking wallfish made to look like Donald Trump? Okay, I'm delving into a rabbit hole I didn't want to know existed. We're moving on. Piketty had an article about a canceled book by Cicely Sanchez. The book's subject was Guy Hudson, and the issue was said to contain pictures that Cicely did not have the rights to publish. Ooh! Can I take those pictures? Because of the pictures, this issue was pulled from store shelves, making it the subject of some conspiracies and an instant collector's item. Due to this recall, the version found in these archives is incomplete. Oh god. Basilbub? Like Beelzebub, but Bass? Could this public gift be filling homes with satanic messages? What in the satanic panic is this? Like, it's just like the voice box being warped from being old. That's all it is. It sounds freaky, yeah, but it's just old. You're judging a fish for being old. Anyway. This was the issue of Piketty magazine that contained an article about Cicely Sanchez. The story concerned an unreleased book she had written about Guy Hudson. It seems that it used photos of Guy that Cicely did not own the rights to publish. Unfortunately, the magazine was issued a cease and desist by the Roottrees lawyers. The magazine was pulled from shelves, and the version you found in your periodical search had the relevant pages removed, rendering this magazine useless unless you want to read about a potentially demonic fish toy. Why is this here? Why am I looking at this if this is useless? Is this another red herring because it's a fish? Fuck this. Why does it have 8 off of it then, if it's useless, supposedly? I'm gonna look up Guy Hudson. Did I look up Guy Hudson before? Did I? Only president of Roottrees for 3 years, blah blah blah. Roottreemania. Suddenly arose to prominence again. Blah, blah, blah. Come forward with stories about debauchery and swinger parties. Blah blah blah. This fact has led to some people to speculate that the night he died in a car crash, he was drunk or impaired in some way. But the Butler County Police have released multiple statements and ample evidence that proves decisively that it was not foul play and that no party had taken place. But I want the pictures! Give me the pictures! Give them to me! Because I want to know how Guy Hudson is linked to a demonic fish toy. You can't just show me this and expect me not to, like, question shit. Hold on. Guy Hudson. Oh, here we go. In an issue that focused on talking toy fish and the demonic messages, blah 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 blah. Oh. It's just the same thing. I want the pictures, damn it! Give me the pictures! Nope, that's not what I wanted. I am constantly stuck, Mr. Duck. There's an issue of Piketty by Cicely Sanchez attracted to a particular group of people. Okay. It attracted conspiracy theorists. Wait a minute. Where was the thing? There was a conspiracy thing. Right? Was there not? Is it in... Hold on. Let's start from the top. Company leaders. Blah. Blah, blah, blah. 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 No. What's this? Oh. We have never played with any of the images ever again. Let's see. I am probably forgetting something major, Mr. Duck, so I need you to remind me. In the past, you didn't encounter a Roottrees-related conspiracy theory? I did, but I don't remember what it was called. Because it wasn't relevant then, so I didn't keep it within my cranium. I found Chris Rafferty through the conspiracy website. Maybe this updated website can help you find it again. Ooh! Thank you. Hold on. I know I have to get the email, but I forgot where that was. Where's the email? Where's the email? There it is. But do I not? Questions. Okay, but what was? Oh wait, no. Oh, shoulder. Ooh. Email to party.us. No. Blah. Under construction. Cousins. Where is the cult? Not cult, but the conspiracy shit. Where is it? Where is it? I could have sworn. But hold on. Mr. Duck. The Roottrees curse. Give me that. During your initial search, you came across Thomas Overwood's conspiracy page about the Roottrees. Who are you? 8 months later, the page still exists and is thriving. The visitor counter has reached 7 digits. Damn. Many older articles have been replaced. It seems that the recent uprising in Roottrees news has left Thomas Overwood with a constant stream of events to base new theories on. More than one of his theories involve Roottrees deaths being faked. According to Overwood, statistically, when you have this many high-profile people who have died in family, the odds are that one of them faked their death. It's just math. Or maybe you're just stupid. This newfound focus on death faking seems to coincide with a post mentioning that he's begun believing the guy's not dead theory. In his own words, my eyes have been opened. All of this is beginning to make too much sense. I think you need to chill. Where am I? Oh. One of his posts detailed the belief that Ron Roottrees is still in charge, Gwen Rootrees' death was faked, and that Clark is only there to throw people off. Apparently, this allowed Ron to travel to France to develop their new candy recipe in secret. I mean, it sounds juicy, don't get me wrong. I love a juicy story, but, like, if you do not have, like, logical facts to, like, back it up, that could, where it's like to a point where it cannot be disproven, then you lose me, you know? Another is about the rapper 5-Piece. He can't possibly be a Roottrie. One of his first album songs, when he was performing under the devil name, actually mentioned that he wanted to have sex with Raina. Didn't he change that, though? He literally changed it, though, because he found out that he was a Roottrie. And also, DNA doesn't lie, bucko. Not even Sam Madsen is spared. According to Overwood, the author of 6 Pieces isn't real. Sam Madsen is an anagram for Am Madness. Is it actually? Oh, it is! That's cool. They're purposely leaving hints for us. He claims that by using 6 Pieces with Lauren Rootree's book as a one-time pad, he has begun to decrypt a cipher. Most of the cipher has seemed meaningless, but he managed to pick out the words people and vastness and is working on figuring out what it means. There is also a request at the bottom. Next year, in the year 2000, is a leap year, and Overwood is looking for funds and volunteers to catch the Roottrees red-handed in Operation RT-29. He specifically mentions not to volunteer if you've ever drunk Spirit Cola, and doesn't go into why. Look at this. Found my conspiracy sites. Have I read this before? I don't think so. Anyway, you find more conspiracy websites. Some people out there claim that the Roottrees are changing the candy recipe to include more and more chemicals, and that this was done in cooperation with bad actors from an unknown government. They claim that due to a loophole in the calendar, it is possible to get away with nearly any crime on a leap day so long as it isn't discovered until after the day is over. And that every 4 years on a leap year, the Roottree company hosts a meeting with foreign agents to conspire to poison our children. Their proof is that Roottrie candies contain polyglycerol polyracilate. Racilate? I don't know. An ingredient of the candy that wasn't there when it first released. They claim it is added in an attempt to addict people and eventually induce mind control. If they wanted to addict people, they would just add more sugar. Because sugar is addictive as much. I love sugar, don't get me wrong. But even I can admit that it's kind of addictive. The website claims to sell pills that counteract this effect for children that have already eaten Roottrie candy in the past. You do an additional search for polyglycerol polyracilate, and it seems to be an emulsifier in chocolates approved by the FDA and widely used across many products. Let me look into this Thomas Overwood. Never mind. Guy's not dead. Ooh! The Guy's Not Dead conspiracy stems from a website that focuses on clues the Roottrees have, supposedly, hid all over the place. This includes on candy wrappers, in print advertisements, in television commercials, in their jingles, etc. The story, according to the website, is that Guy Hudson was a terrible president of the Roottrees company and introduced multiple failed products. Something needed to be done that would put the company immediately and instantly back in the favor of the consumers. So they killed off Guy Hudson and replaced him with a new president. I mean, this move immediately garnered sympathy, and the company recovered the next year more popular than ever. The next president stayed much further out of the limelight, and some people even theorized that he was simply Guy Hudson in an elaborate disguise, which is why he stopped appearing in public. The people who run the site are asking for help. They're certain that there's a clue to all of this that accidentally leaked in a banned article from the magazine Pitaky. On their page is a scan of the magazine's cover, the interview of Cicely Sanchez about Guy Hudson, and some photos. You add them to your evidence! Yes! Who knew conspiracy theorists would be useful? Give me your faces. Give me. This photo is the first from a magazine interview with Cicely Sanchez in Pitaky. Sorry. So, I'm assuming this is Sicily. The issue of Piketty magazine that it came from was pulled from the shelves, but you managed to find it online. Piketty does not label its individual photos. Both photos were instead under the shared label. Cicely was provided these photos by the Roottrees company for use in her book, which was a complete lie. Ooh. Give me your faces. Gimme. This photo is the first from the magazine interview with Cicely Sanchez in Piketty. The issue of Piketty magazine that it came from was pulled from the shelves being mentioned online. Piketty does not label its individual photo. Cicely with the anima. In the background of the photo, there is a Christmas tree. Thanks. Ooh. Let's go. This is an interview with Cicely Sanchez, an author. She was hired to write a book about Guy Hudson. You claim to have been paid a significant amount to write a book about one of the Roottrees, Guy Hudson. He was president for a short period at the end of the 1970s, right? Yeah, I met him on New Year's Eve, actually. The last night of 1978. I liked to throw big parties. I was just coming off of Changed Man and looking for my next project. When his wife learned who I was, he invited me to the party and they cornered me to talk about a book. That was the first time anyone recognized me for my work. I had finally made it. The book they asked me to write sounded great, but then none of the stuff that made him interesting was allowed to stay. Chop chop, snip snip, anything with even the slightest threat to Guy's image ended up in gonzo. What was the stuff that made him interesting? At his core, Guy was not complicated. In fact, I think I could boil him down to two traits. First, he wanted to be seen as the second coming of the great Elias Roottree. And second, he'd never be satisfied living the life needed to be seen that way. He had his fortune and good looks, and he really liked to exploit that to pick up women. But he couldn't let anyone else know, so it cost him a lot to cover it up. That was the only interesting aspect of Guy. It was James Bond trying to convince people he was Mr. Rogers, I guess. Mr. Rogers? Really? Maybe that's not the best metaphor, but Elias Roottrees was boring as all hell and all about family. Guy did everything he could to be seen that way. After I submitted my first draft, he sent me this garbage book, The Roottrees Legacy, with Elias on the cover. The last time he and I met, he had been switched out his orange suits for the same green ones Elias wore. Has he actually been I gotta look back. Remember fancy flavors? Guy knew that part of Elias's legacy was the 5-piece flavors, so that's what Guy tried to do. Caviar was a disaster here. But it was actually somewhat popular in Brazil for whatever reason. In Christmas 1979, he went to Brazil to open the Roottrees Brazil factory. Oh, that was the picture. Guy was always hopping around the world trying to recreate that success. So how come the book never came out? It's complicated. I had an out in my contract. Surprisingly, Guy signed the contract Guy signed the contract my lawyers wrote without running it by anybody in his legal department. I could pull my name off the book at any time, but Guy still got the content. After I left, it probably got a lot harder to convince any real publisher to give it their time. He was the president, right? Do you know why he never released it himself? Oh, excuse me. If I had to guess, his family very wisely put a stop to it. Mid-1981, months after I had already moved on, he called me back and showed me a final draft. Do you know how expensive it is to publish one copy of a book? It had my name on it in big, shiny, embossed letters. Like all problems in his life, throwing money at me was his attempt to win me back. But it had half the page count and the narrative was torn to bits. No thanks. And dinner was good, and poured steak that likely cost as much as a month of my mortgage. We all got pretty drunk. He sent his Mr. Susie something into the bathroom to proposition me. Poor girl. I remembered her from our trips overseas. She was too good for him. Anyways, he died soon after, and that was the last that ever came up. So Susie was with him. Assuming that there was like no mention. It was really a mention. I assume she was alone. Could be either one of these women. Yeah, I got like orange and green. Orange and kind of like bluey green. Green. Oh my god. I thought he was just feeling a little different then. Oh my god. Where do I get a picture for fucking Christine? Anyway, sorry. Ducky. There's a secretary in Piketty photo 2. Due to the timing of Zach's retirement, there's only one person this could be. Wait. That would be her. Right? Is this the second photo? Which photo are we talking about? But there was something mentioned, changed man. Nope, never mind. Who was being interviewed? Roottrees, Brazil. Roottrees, Brazil, sometimes erroneously referred to as Roottrees, Brazil, is one of the companies created to manufacture and distribute Roottrees candy. It was developed as part of the Roottrees Everywhere initiative near the beginning of 1979. Unlike some of the other Rootree Everywhere results, Rootree Brazil seems to be a success. You do some rough translating and find a significant amount of information about it. Ooh. Brazil was the only region in which caviar-flavored 5 pieces, released at the end of 1978, were a hit. The primary reason that the factory still exists to this day is solely to create that flavor, which comes on its own standalone 5 pieces bag with Portuguese writing. A small town named Avalagos near the municipality of São Bernardo do Campo became the location chosen by the Roottrees Candy Company after a newly elected local politician named Edson Soares heard that they were planning a new factory and petitioned them in early 1979. I gotta look him up. The factory was controversial as locals did not want it there. The Roottrees visited Brazil around Christmas and managed to break ground on the project. Since then, however, it has been operating relatively smoothly except for 2 incidents. The first was Incendio do Bordo in 1982, and the second was an unsuccessful strike in 1995 that involved all the factory workers being replaced. The factory was originally built and run, according to paperwork at the time, by a small company called Nova Corporação de Doces Brazil, which literally translates to New Brazil Candy Corporation. This company no longer exists, and not much information was ever existed before that, and the Roottrees now run Roottrees Brazil entirely. Edson Soares. Edson Soares is a Brazilian politician. You find a dissertation published by a college student as part of their PhD in history. It focuses on the rise of democracy in Brazil. It seems up until 1988, Brazil was run by the military, and the politics during the time were often a hotbed for corruption and nepotism. The paper tells of a few politicians at the time, including Edson Soares. Edson is a former mayor of Avalagos, Brazil. Before politics, he was a manager of an automotive manufacturing plant for a major American car company. He was put in charge of Avalagos by the military government in 1973. As mayor, he used his manufacturing background and knowledge of American business to establish new factories, distribution plants, and other business ventures in the area. This has 2 side effects. First, he became quite rich. Second, many locals were forcibly relocated. This does not make him a popular mayor. And what the paper speculates was a move to counteract this unpopularity. His wife, Sonia, was discreetly put in charge of a television station called Telerede. Telerede? I don't know. I'm guessing with a lot of these pronunciations. He often used this connection to ensure supporters would appear on local television spouting his beliefs and emphasizing his political victories. He remained in office until 1988 when he was defeated in the first election after the military government was no longer in control. After this election loss, he quickly left the town behind. It is not known where he has gone, but the dissertation even speculates he likely fled to stay alive. Sonia Soares? There does not seem to be anyone relevant with the name of Sonia Soares listed anywhere online you can find. However, Spider Search does return a page that lists a news anchor in Brazil named Flavio Soares, who has a mother named Sonia. Flavio Suarez is a young Brazilian newscaster with a bit of a cult following. Oh? The discourse surrounding him is, to put it in polite terms, lewd. There's a website about something called fan fiction that has a small section dedicated to him. Jesus Christ. It seems the women and some men of a wide variety of ages and writing skill tend to find him worthy of inclusion in their stories. You skim some of the tales there and learn that a common thread is that he's currently dating a supermodel named Ashley York. I'll look into her later. Many stories either seem to ignore her existence or get her out of the picture rather quickly. Ooh. There are also other more traditional fan sites that list some things about him, including his age, 18, his zodiac sign, Libra, his favorite food, grilled steak, base, and his mother's name, Sonia. Also, it seems that Flavio translates to golden-haired. On one website with a signed publicity photo of Flavio seems to confirm this. The photo's been added to your evidence. Let's go. Anyway, Ashley York. Let me see this. Ashley York is a British supermodel who does ads for perfume, clothing, and jewelry. She has been the subject of some controversy in the past few months, having been protested by PETA for wearing fur on the cover of some magazines. She's dating a young Brazilian news anchor named Flavio Suarez, which has brought them both somewhat into the limelight. Let me see. To Natasha from Brazil. Sorry. So what does this mean? Where would this fit? Because it's one of these two. I don't... Were they divorced? Did he divorce his wife? Tarareda? Tarareda is a former television station in Brazil. It came into being in 1970 after a vacuum was created due to the removal of a different network at the hands of the Brazilian military dictatorship. Due to a lack of resources online, you don't have much to go on and who ran with it and when. Fuck! It sucks. Translates to maple fire. In 1982, the factory was deliberately attacked in a case of clear arson. The fire was brought under control after destroying about 2/3 of the production floor, and locals claimed the air smelled like a mix of burning plastic and maple syrup. The factory was rebuilt and continues production to this day. At the time, it was unknown why this happened, but last year a news special did list this incident as well as a few others in the small town as backlash to perceived corruption in the government at the time. According to the report, the mayor of the city was found to be receiving a cut of the factory's profits. Oh my. No. Go back to this. Can we look up this? Nope. Give me back to this. I'll go ahead and just search it again so that way it's like warm up. Let's see. Doesn't seem to be anything else that I immediately clock in as important. Once you verify this person, you'll be able to add bonus photos. Bonus photos? Yeah. Did they split up? I mean, it would have to be this, right? Edson Suarez. She used to be a news anchor. Her name is Sonia. Sonia Suarez. And then Suarez? Davio. I think he's also a news anchor? What was he? Newscaster. Cicely was... I don't remember if she was a secretary. Why is she a secretary? This would have to be her. Right. Am I understand this right? I don't think I am. I don't know. Ducky, help. Christine Garland is the only secretarially relevant to our investigation who was at the company during Zach's retirement. Okay, so... Wait. No, wait. No. Ah. So is she newly a secretary? Would this be her? Hold on. Secretary. Right? Oh. Okay, so that's Christine. We don't know what Cicely looks like. I'm thinking... Well, no, because she... Technically an author? Would this be her? Would that be... Huh. I still don't understand why we have a statue. Because, like, these two look similar enough. Right? Ducky? There's a lot of information about Flavio Suarez. There's one thing on there that could be a lead. I mean, there really wasn't. He's dating a supermodel. Yeah, I know, I looked into her. Her regular spider search results are a bit dry. As a famous young woman, maybe there's another oh, you right. You right. Oh! Ashley York, a British model, appeared on the cover of Teen Blast, wearing a fur shawl 3 months ago. This appearance doesn't lead to be any useful information, but another more recent appearance in text only mentions she's dating Flavio Suarez. In it, a Teen Blast reporter asks how they met. I was in Rio for Carnival, and he was on one of the parade floats. I had no idea who he was, but I liked what I saw and told my people to invite him to the party I was going to. I felt pretty stupid once I realized that we were going to his party. Well, his mother's party. She runs a media empire down there called Transmissão Paulo. Transmissão Paulo is a massive media group owned and run by a mysterious woman named Sonia Alves. It seems Sonia Alves is a common name in Brazil, as she has shortened her name to Nia to stand out in the public's eye. According to a history page that's focused on her company and vague on searchable details, Nia received a significant inheritance in 1980 and invested it in many different manufacturing businesses. So she's a mogul, isn't she? Isn't that what that is? I'm pretty sure. In her hometown in Brazil. At the same time, she had just begun to earn the ins and outs of running a television network. Okay, so it would be Alves. She would be a media mogul. Anyway. At the time, she had just begun to learn the ins and outs of running a television network. She continued to work in television until 1988, when Brazil began its period of reform. She felt this was the perfect opportunity to launch her own media company using her investment and connections. Now her company owns television networks, magazines, newspapers, and advertising firms. After doing some translating, the page about Nia lists her as unmarried. It does not go into any other relationship history. Searching for Nia online, you learn that she stays out of the spotlight. She doesn't even appear in shareholder meetings. She sends a proxy. I think that's her. Have you looked into global initiatives of the Roottrees Corporation? I have, but it was probably a long time ago, so I don't remember. The results for Roottrees Brazil mention something related to this. Oh, I should have looked into Roottrees everywhere. That was a silly on me. Roottrees everywhere. Roottrees Everywhere was an expansion in the late 1970s. It coincided with some other large changes in the company and had mixed success. As far as you can tell, the different companies related to it were all formed in very different and sometimes haphazard ways. There's minimal organized information about the history of the expansion itself online, but you can glean the following. Roottrees candy had been distributed globally to certain markets approved by Elias as early as the 1940s. This included places like Canada, Mexico, and selected countries in Europe, mostly the UK. Roottrees Everywhere involved Roottrees expansion to other major markets that were assessed to be ready for Roottrees. This started with 4 that it had no share in: Australia, Brazil, China, and France. Each of the countries had an entirely new company formed, mostly by making deals with local distributors and manufacturers. Roottrees Aus, Roottrees Brazil, China Roottrees, and Roottrees France. I'm not sure where this gets me. Roottrees Aus? Roottrees Aus is one of the companies created to manufacture and distribute Roottrees candy. It was developed as part of the Roottrees Everywhere initiative in summer 1979. According to a history website for Roottrees Aus, Charles Martin, who owned a company that manufactured licorice in Australia, was tapped to run the Roottrees factory after he impressed the American leadership of the Roottrees Candy Company at the time. Roottrees Aus did have some success, but only in certain regions. The manufacturing leg of the company shuttered in 1992 after the death of Martin, and Roottrees Aus now serves as an importer and distributor. Ooh. Business Watch mostly focuses on American businesses, but the expansion of Roottrees into Australia did create a bit of a blip in 1978. It mentions that Charles Martin met with the legal and leadership teams from Roottrees in late 1977. They came to an agreement and broke ground on a new factory in early 1978. The Roottrees company's statement, said to come directly from the president, was brief and a bit awkward. Roottrees is excited to begin a new adventure down under. We're extremely impressed with Charles Martin and feel like this expansion heralds a new era for Roottrees that will last for years to come. Roottrees is founded on family, and Charles's family has also impressed us, especially his daughter Robin. We know she'll continue to steer the ship just as Elias Roottrees' family continues to do so here in the US of A. Robin. Apparently, Robin Martin sold off her father's assets in 1992, the year after he died, which combined with her inheritance immediately catapulted her into an almost unimaginable level of wealth. The writer at Business Watch, who was assigned to report on this news, seems to disapprove of this move immensely. While the article does touch on the announcement of who took over the licorice division as well as what was to become of the maple candy factory, the entire text seems to be dripping with contempt that someone would be willing to, quote, dismantle and gut, end quote, such a successful company to earn, quote, a quick buck, end quote. The article ends with a dig at Robin's personal life and lack of traditional values. Quote, but who am I to judge? Maybe she sold it to ensure a better future for her own children. Oh, wait. Excuse me? Robin Martin is featured in many of the top 100 wealthiest women in the world lists. She owns a private island off the coast of Australia where she reportedly has her own exclusive retreat. She has no husband, and there was a widely circulated rumor somewhere in the mid-70s that she had a medical procedure to ensure she would never have children. You find a joke on a site called Edgy Jokes that implies she's quite promiscuous and has a punchline involving robin's eggs. Gross. For what it's worth, Martin seemed to lean into the rumors. In the 80s, she once showed up at a charity function with 3 very attractive men, each wearing a suit that said, simply, satisfied partner on it. Well, at least she, leaned into it and, had fun with it. No, give me this. Wait, no. Yes? No. This one. China Roottrees is one of the companies created to manufacture and distribute Roottrees candy. It was developed as part of the Roottrees Everywhere initiative in the summer of 1979. During the late 70s, China began to go through a period of economic reform. This led to new opportunities for American companies, and the Roottrees Candy Company decided to pounce. Oh god. I'm gonna butcher this. Lang Hongbo, who was said to personally win over the Roottrees family and was the owner of multiple textile factories, did not wish to import the ingredients and build a special factory to manufacture the candy in China. So instead, they made a deal to import bulk, unpackaged Roottrees candy and label it for not only China, but additional markets. Hongbo, who was already in his mid-50s when the deal happened, only had daughters, and his brother, Lang Hongyu, took control upon his death in 1986. After Hongyu died in 1992, it passed to the oldest child for the next generation, Lang Jinyu. Lang Jinyu, in China the family name comes first, so Lang is her last name, is a businesswoman currently running the Lang Tai Textile Company. She was recently listed in an article on a website written by and for women. The article entitled Empowered is about the recent rise of women entrepreneurs in China. The article states that due to her lack of brothers, she has a younger sister. Lang Jinyu took over as CEO of her family's company in 1992 after her elderly uncle was deemed unfit to run the company due to mental deterioration. This was apparently an extremely controversial move amongst the company's employees, and some of them, the article does not say how many, quit and wrote a letter stating that she must have coerced him in his vulnerable state. Damn. Since then, the company has been performing well. Her nephew, who is currently her second in command, is expected to take over when she retires. In the meantime, the board's stance has been a twist on a popular proverb. The article roughly translates it as, someone that has proven they can do something well can do it 100 times well. An unproven leader could doom us all. The article also offhandedly mentions that Jinyu was an early adopter of IVF and helped her sister have a child. There is an unsourced picture of Jinyu in the article. It says that it's from 1992 when she took over. She was 45 at the time. It has been added to your evidence. Ooh! Is there anything else? No. Ooh, this has gotta be important. Oh, that would be this, right? Would it be like these? Because, like, well, no, because what? Ow. Give me this. Roottrees, France. Roottrees, France is one of the companies created to manufacture and distribute Roottrees candy. It was developed as part of the Roottrees Everywhere initiative in summer 1979. Apparently, Roottrees, France was a non-starter. Negotiations broke down pretty late in the process after the company had already been formed, and then the leadership of Roottrees went through a very large change soon after. The CEO of Roottrees, France was meant to be Tristan Robert is a businessman who at one time was in negotiations to take over Roottrees France. He is still alive, and you come across an interview unrelated to Roottrees from a few months ago. It seems that other countries have not been immune to Roottreemania, as you recognize the word Roottrees in one of the questions. It seems the interviewer snuck in a question about his experience with the company at the end of the 70s. The article is in French, and it takes some time to translate section by section. He mentions Guy by first name only, and the tale he tells is quite ugly. Ooh. The translation is as follows. Guy, the president of Roottrees, was one of the worst men I have ever met. He approached my wife about having an affair, which she refused. He then kept insisting that this was the best way to celebrate the end of our business contract. I don't think he expected her to say no, and I don't think he thought she would tell me what happened. I punched him in the face and refused to attend another meeting with this man. I lost a lot of money on this deal because not only was he a terrible person, but he was also a terrible businessman. When he died shortly after, I felt like the universe was working things out. Damn! I wasn't surprised to learn he had a secret child. Damn! He seemed to treat women like collectible pocket monsters. It seems mentioning Pokemon sidetracks the questions a bit, and the interview never returns to the subject of Roottrees. So I definitely think they're talking about her. So then her last name, so I don't know who she's married to. She was a CEO. Right? That would be classified as CEO, right? Yeah, she's a businesswoman. Took over as CEO, yeah. She's a CEO. Well, we're at least getting somewhat closer. As in, not at all. Did I look this up? I did. Ooh. Anonymom was the second high-profile case after Felix Fellows of a potential new Roottrees being added to the Clancy Trust. Instead of claiming herself a Rootree, however, she claimed she slept with Guy Hudson and that her daughter was a Rootree. The accusation came during the height of Roottreemania and began with a brief TV interview. She appeared in the shadows with a disguised voice and promoted an article about herself in News Time. In the TV interview and the article, she referred to her daughter as Jane Doe Rootree. The name Anonymom was not self-inflicted. It seemed to spring up organically because nobody knew how else to refer to her. The day after the News Time article, Sam Madsen publicly supported Anonymom due to some parts of the story she found particularly credible. With the momentum from Sam's endorsement, Anonymom went into the media on a media blitz. Ultimately, this backfired. As more details came out, people became skeptical of her story due to the extreme similarity to 5Ps. Her accusation even included many of the same details as her mother's story. This included her job, secretary, and the time period, late 70s. After fumbling the 5P story so publicly, the Roottrees were more prepared to handle all Clancy Trust-related cases. Within a week, a DNA test proved that Anonymom's daughter could not be related to the Roottrees. This was announced at a joint press conference with lawyers representing both Anonymom and the Roottrees. Each party ensured their respective clients provided accurate samples. Immediately after the negative results were released, many of those who had already been skeptical felt vindicated. Others, who had built up hope that history would repeat itself after 5Ps, felt duped. Many people suspected the whole affair had been a hoax to gain fame and money. Many demanded that Anonymom be held accountable, and some people even began to attempt to track down her true identity. Damn. The Rootree company felt pressured to put out a second statement to try to curb some of the backlash, even going so far as to say, quote, "Though it was scientifically proven that Jane Doe Rootree is not a Rootree, this doesn't mean that her mother and Guy Hudson were not involved in an affair. She had every right to make her claim, as it had been verified that her stories about Guy Hudson were not exaggerations. Please leave their family alone." Many people claim this high-profile anticlimax and public backlash was the beginning of the end for Roottreemania, since much of the fun was the shared fascination about secret Roottrees. Others think that, like any fad, it just ran its course naturally. Regardless, this was the final notable event related to the release of 6 pieces, and things soon went back to normal. Jane Doe Rootree was already been eliminated as a potential new Rootree by the company's lawyers, who are the ones verifying your work. Anonymom's affair does not appear on your updated tree. I'm aware, but there could have been at least something. There could have been at least something else that I could have gleamed. Duck. Assist me. It's a good idea to look at any company names you find. I looked into them. Company name loves use spiders. Ooh. Yeah, I should have thought of that, honestly. I might do a few more searches and a few more reading, and after that I might call it because my throat's starting to make me regret my life decisions. You come across the website for the Shanghai Textile Corporation, which is a company that has helped expand Roottrees products to China since the late 1970s. The company seems very accomplished. Their site has quotes from many different reporters and news articles listed on it in nearly every language. It's also mentioned quite often on websites about Chinese businesses, but those mentions are company focused and not people focused and don't offer any information useful to your investigation. Their page contains a very rudimentary leadership timeline with names that prove that the company had been the Lang family for a long time. It kind of looks like a family tree. It goes back at least 250 years in some form or another. During the period where they began the Roottrees deal, Lang Hongbo, in China the family name comes first, so Lang is his last name, I know, was the CEO. He died before the internet was widespread, so there's not much out there other than his name on this website. His younger brother, Lang Hongyu, was featured on the history section directly following him. This also seems to be the only mention of the man. The current CEO is a woman listed as simply Jinyu. The site doesn't list her last name, though she does appear on the family tree below Hongbo. Lang Tai has a few American logos on its page. One is the Roottrees logo, another is Tranquilts, and the third is Piece of Asia. It seems Tranquilts is a play on tranquil and quilts. The name is ironic considering they're the loudest quilts you've ever seen. The main quilt featured on their website is a flaming unicorn soaring through space with peace symbols all around it. Although they were listed on the website for the Lang Tai textile company, they don't seem to have much of a connection. It appears that they import cloth. Well, what about Piece of Asia? Piece of Asia is an American arm of Lang Tai, located in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. According to their site, the Tai in Lang Tai translates to peaceful, so they chose their name in America to match. There are a lot of other companies listed here. Too many to investigate, as very few of them seem to have any relevance. It seems Piece of Asia is nearly as accomplished as Lang Tai. They author fabrics and cloths at wholesale prices. You don't see anything out of the ordinary. The business is said to be owned by a husband and wife, Jerry and Linda Han. Their Chinese names are listed too, and from using an online translator, it seems that Jerry is Han Junwei and Linda Lang Jinyao. Lang Jinyao. Okay. I'll go ahead and... She is also a CEO. I don't know who her spouse is. I might actually call it there because, yeah, my throat is not having that. But yeah, thank you everyone who came to the stream. I really appreciate it. On Friday, we will be going back to Ace Attorney. On Monday, we will be doing Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog. And next week, Wednesday, we will be returning to this. There isn't really much else of note. So, again, thank you everyone who came to the stream. I will see you guys on Friday. Bye!